If you clicked into this video, you might have seen my last one where I was comparing two viral personal item sized travel backpacks, including this one, which is the Bagsmart Blast. And if you watched that video, you know that I absolutely love this backpack because of all of the little small details and features on it that just make it so convenient and accessible for when you're traveling. However, after I released that video, Bagsmart launched a new version of the backpack, which is this mesh one right here. And they actually also have a third version of it as well, which is the extended one. So today in this video, I'm gonna show you the difference between the original, the extended, and the difference between this new mesh one, so you know what is the right option for you before you go to buy these. So let's go ahead and talk about size and weight. Given that these three backpacks look nearly identical, I'm gonna call them the Blast Original, Blast Extended, and the Blast Mesh, and that is also going to match what is on the website too when you go to checkout and buy them. I'm gonna be honest, there's not too much difference between these. So let's start with the original. This one comes in at 16.5 inches tall by 12 inches wide and 8 inches deep, which is going to fit the personal item requirements for Spirit, Frontier, and a lot of other airlines. Now, the difference between the Blast Original and the Extended and Mesh is that the Extended and Mesh have an extension zipper, which gives you an extra 2 inches of depth. So you have the same height and width, but now you have an extra 2 inches of depth, giving you 10 inches total. And just like in the last video, I took my luggage scale and measured each of these. These are going to be in kilograms in case you have weight requirements on an international airline. So the original one is 0.89 kilograms, and the Extended and Mesh are the exact same weight at 1.07 kilograms. And that little bit of extra weight comes from the extension section and zipper. And you guys already know why I like this backpack, but I just want to go over those little features again in case you haven't seen the last video. This is such a fantastic backpack because of these small details. First off, I love how it opens like a duffel. So you unzip this main compartment and then you have this big interior space, but the top flap doesn't take up a lot of room or flap around too much. I also love the placement of these compression straps on the outside because they don't interfere with the laptop compartment and they don't interfere with the water bottle pocket, which are problems that I've had on other backpacks. I also love that this has multiple carrying handles on the top and on the side. And one of my favorite pockets is actually the quick access pocket on top that is underneath that carrying handle. On my last trip, it was fantastic to use when I had it slid under the seat in front of me because I could keep my quick access stuff there, like my hand sanitizer, chapstick, maybe my little magnetic MagSafe tripod, so that anytime I wanted to grab one of those things, all I had to do was unzip that zipper. I didn't have to pull out my whole bag. These bags also have tons of organization options with 2 flat pockets on the front, as well as a larger laptop compartment at the back that has 2 elastic mesh pockets for organizing all your cords, maybe hard drives, as well as a laptop pocket and a tablet pocket. Finally, there is a hidden pocket at the back for your passport, as well as a shoe or dirty laundry compartment at the bottom. I saw someone else use this for dirty laundry, so that's what I'm going to use it for in the future. Just be aware that if you're packing shoes in here, it does fill up the inner space. Finally, it includes a chest strap to relieve a little bit of the weight if you're walking around for a long time, as well as a luggage strap, so if you're bringing a suitcase, you can slide it on top of that. But let's talk about the differences between these 3 bags because that's why you're here. And actually, while I was looking at these, I realized that the Extended and the Mesh version are pretty much the same bag, except the Mesh version has a couple mesh pockets and some contrasting color detail in the fabric that the Extended one does not. But they have a lot of the same features and changes from the original Blast. So while I go through these, I'm just gonna compare the original to the Extended and the Mesh as like a singular unit. The most obvious difference is going to be the expansion zipper. On the Extended and the Mesh version, there is an additional zipper next to the laptop compartment that when you unzip it, makes the main compartment 2 inches larger. So you need to be aware because if you are traveling with this as a personal item, you're likely not going to be able to use that expansion zipper. However, if you're taking this on something that doesn't have strict size requirements like that, for example, like a train or on a road trip, that will give you more space to pack in. And when you open up that main compartment, there's actually a different pocket inside the extended and the mesh version. Within the original one, this is just a completely flat flap. There's no additional organization inside of it. But in the newer versions, you have a waterproof sleeve. And I'm gonna be honest, this is something that I really missed from my Amazon Viral backpack, because this is where I like to put my toothbrush and my razor. And it could also be good if you have any toiletries that you know are going to leak. You can slide them in here, or even like a wet bathing suit or something like that. If it doesn't have time to dry, you can pop it in here and it won't get your other items wet. So I'm very happy to see that this waterproof pocket was added to the flap for the main compartment. Now, a complaint I had in my first video was that the inner compression strap in that main pocket doesn't really compress. It's actually bigger than the main pocket, so I feel like it just kind of like keeps your things inside if you are to open it. I don't think it actually compresses anything down. So I was very curious to see if they updated that for this new one, but in fact, they made the compression strap 1/2 inch longer on the top and on the bottom in this new bag, so it still doesn't compress, and it is in fact looser than in the original version. So I took my little tape measure because I was very, very curious about this. And in the original version, the top is about 7.5 inches long and the bottom is 7. However, in the extended and the mesh version, the top is now 8 inches and the bottom is now 7.5, which means they added 1/2 inch of this strap to each one, which now makes it looser. So I'm disappointed to see that this is longer and has not been tightened, because it doesn't provide any compression even when you squeeze it to the tightest amount. But I guess once you open the bag, it keeps things from falling out. It just doesn't compress. Now, if we turn the bag around, on this back panel is where you have your luggage strap and your hidden passport compartment. However, on the newer version, the extended and the mesh, they've also added one additional security pocket here that is hidden behind that side handle. Both the passport pocket and this new security pocket are quite large, so I feel like you could fit your phone and your passport into these, and maybe that's why they added an additional one. However, just know if you're looking at the original that this extra security pocket is not on there. Finally, they've also added some new color options and upgraded some of the packing cube. So the original comes with 8 different color options. The extended comes with 7, and then the mesh comes with 4 different colors. Now, let's actually look at this mesh pocket, because when we're looking at the extended and the mesh version, that's really the only difference. So now I'm gonna be honest, when I got these, I thought it was going to be a more flexible mesh. There is a little bit of give to it from side to side, not much from top to bottom, but there is some give from side to side, which is useful on the water bottle pocket because there will be a little more give there. But otherwise, it's not a super stretchy mesh fabric like I was envisioning. So if you know that you have a water bottle that's on the bigger side, you may prefer the mesh version because it's gonna have a little more flexibility to accommodate that. And if you wanna stuff like maybe a jacket or something into the front, this pocket will have more give for that. There's also some slight branding updates on the mesh version. They've also updated the logo on the bottom of the front pocket, as well as added one to the side strap. Now, I really like the way it looks on this side strap, but I don't like how obvious this is on the front. I do prefer the branding that's on the front of the original and the extended, just because it's a little more subtle. Now, Bagsmart has also made an updated version of their packing cubes, which I reviewed in the last video, to match the Blast. And they did make one small change that I actually really like. Instead of a shoe bag that is divided in half down the middle, now it is a drawstring bag. So not only can you take this and use it as a day pack, I think it also provides you more flexibility to use as a shoe bag or a laundry bag. Another small change that they've made is also adding this strap to the large one. I'm curious to see how other people will use these. But other than the change in the shoe bag and this adjustable buckle, which I think would be useful if you're trying to really compress this down, I believe the bags are pretty much the same. other than those and the color differences. Now, another big difference between these is going to be the price. So as I told you earlier in the video, there's basically kind of like a division between the original and then the extended and mesh, with the extended and mesh being basically the same except for the mesh details on the mesh version. Mesh. And the price of the bags are divided similarly as well. So the original Blast is $69.99, whereas the extended and mesh versions are about $5 more expensive, coming in at $74.99. And something I've noticed recently is Bagsmart is offering these bundles where you can get one of these backpacks and the packing cubes and save a little bit, or get, a roller suitcase and one of the backpacks. So if you're looking to upgrade a couple things, or you want a backpack and you want the packing cubes too, definitely check out their website, because if you get one of those bundles, you'll be able to save money rather than buying them separately. All right, so the ultimate question is, which one should you buy and which one is right for you? And if you have the original, is it worth it to upgrade to the extended or the mesh version? Now, I think if you already have the original, I don't think there's any reason to upgrade to one of these other ones unless you really want the flexibility of the expansion pocket, or you really want that wet pocket. But honestly, I think if you have the original, you're going to be very, very happy. I also think you're going to prefer the original if price and weight are very important, because the original is $5 cheaper and it weighs a little bit less. So if you are traveling on those international airlines and weight is super important, like you can't go over 7 kilograms, you are gonna save a little bit of weight by going with the original. Now, if you don't own one of these backpacks, or you're not as concerned about weight or price, is it still worth it to pay an extra $5 for the extended and the mesh version? I think so. Honestly, I really like that these now come with that waterproof pocket on the inside, because like I said, that is something I really miss from the Amazon viral backpack. I also like that there's an extra security pocket, and that if I want to take this on a different type of trip, maybe not as my personal item, I have that expandable pocket. So let's say you go on vacation and you take this as a personal item there, but you buy some souvenirs, you decide to use the expansion pocket and take it as a carry-on on the way back. That is now also an option. But let's say you don't own the original and you're trying to decide whether the extended or the mesh version is right for you. Overall, the extended and the mesh just give you that little more versatility. However, if you are traveling on a plane, you need to be careful not to overpack, because you will have to put these in the sizer at the end. And then ultimately, whether you choose the mesh over the extended version is going to come down to whether you like those mesh details. So I hope that you guys now know which one is right for you, as well as all of the differences between them. And I have another Bagsmart video coming up soon, because they've agreed to send me one of their roller bags. So I'm curious to see how that compares to their backpacks, because obviously I love this Blast and I want to see if that is still a good quality. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see that, as well as more packing and bag reviews, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.